What's going on, guys? Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back to my channel. All right, it's been a minute since we've talked about the Real Housewives of Orange County. I know, nothing really has been happening, and I just felt, you know what, not even gonna review it. Well, motherfucking won't you tell me. I watched this week's episode and I'm like, well, damn, gotta review it. So buckle up, because this was actually a very good episode. So this week on the Real Housewives of Orange County, the ladies are still at Lake Arrowhead. Bronwyn, though, gets Elizabeth to open up in a very shocking way, and we're going to get to that in a second, so just stick with me. Elizabeth drops a bombshell of a secret that she has been carrying around her whole life. So Miss Shannon Bedore and Shane, Emily's husband, they both have tested positive for COVID. This is going to play out through the whole season. A lot of bombshells are dropped. Stick with me through the whole thing. We are talking about it all. Bronwyn was also upset with Elizabeth because she felt that Elizabeth was not being truthful and not being honest and lying about, you know, renting her home and her finances and who she was, so on and so forth. And that prompted Bronwyn to do a lot of digging and hiring a private investigator on her, and y'all, it was a mess. Bronwyn and Elizabeth, they go for a hike together, and this is where we pick up from last week. Bronwyn got Elizabeth to open up in a very shocking way this week on the Real Housewives of Orange County. So Elizabeth, y'all, she revealed that she grew up in a religious cult. She was threatened, she was locked in closets, she was threatened to be thrown off bridges. So she has extreme trauma, and this caused her to have a panic attack. So this is where we're picking up. So Bronwyn, she is trying to comfort Elizabeth, trying to calm her down. And here's the thing, the techniques that Bronwyn is showing Elizabeth, it's all stuff that I learned when I was in my intensive therapy.
What are 5 things you can see?
A tree.
Okay.
The bark. A little bug.
Focus on 5 things. What are the 5 things that you can see? What are things that you can feel? What are things that you can smell? And it really does work to calm your mind down, get you present, get you centered. That is what Bronwyn is doing, and that is why she's saying, name 5 things, name 3 things that you can smell, name 2 things that you can touch, like all that stuff. It helps your mind slow down to calm you down when you have extreme anxiety or having a panic attack. It really, that's what that was for anyone that was confused. So basically, until the age of 13, Elizabeth grew up in this like religious community cult. Her grandmother was the head of the cult. Her father was, you know, a main preacher. Y'all, she says that she was locked in closets. She only could wear one type of uniform. She only could eat what the church prepared for her. She could not leave the commune. They could not go to a hospital.
They knew how to control every single person on that property. I need to move on, and I don't know.
Y'all, this was literally mind-blowing. My whole mind, when she was like sharing this, I'm like, you have got to be fucking kidding me. This is insane. Like, shit like this actually exists in real life. And that's like the crazy thing, that cults like this and these weird type of like underground religions, like, that's real. This is like a real thing. Basically, Elizabeth's family disowned her because Elizabeth told a neighbor about what was going on. The FBI came, shut the whole thing down, and Elizabeth said that her father told her, well, you just lost a father now. You lost your family. What? Who said that? Like, what? So basically, because of all of this, Elizabeth has put up this whole like facade, you know, of a life. You know, laughter and happiness and extreme wealth to try not to expose this like horrible skeleton of a truth that she's been carrying around her whole entire life. So it kind of like all makes sense why Elizabeth is the way that she is, and I applaud her for coming clean, sharing her story. Like, that takes a lot of fucking balls, so good for you. So she mentioned she's scared that if she shares her story, everything she created for herself will be over. That's farthest from the truth. Elizabeth, you could write a tell-all book and I would buy it. You're good, girl. You're good. Write that freaking New York Times bestseller. Teresa Giudice did it. Look at her. Get on it, Elizabeth. But yeah, that was so deep. That's a fuzz. That was so freaking deep. Stick with me to the end. I'm gonna give you all my thoughts about this week's episode. All right, anyway, childhood trauma. Elizabeth needs to work on being free from this, okay? So let's move on to something more lighthearted. Gina and Kelly are fishing, and it does not end well. No, it doesn't. Gina gets herself caught in a fishing line.
My first catch of the day. I caught myself.
Oh my God.
I'm such a catch.
Kelly gets caught in a rope.
Okay, let me you a
So
funny.
first thing, oh my God, oh, you caught the rope. This sucks, Bonnie.
And Gina?
Do you need help? Because I did community service at the dog rescue and I took stitches out of the dogs. Okay, Bandit. You see? Don't shake.
When I say I screamed, I literally screamed at this scene.
I want to believe that there's fish heaven up there. It's just full of clear waters. They're just swimming around up there all happy.
R.I.P. the fish. I'm literally just, that whole scene, I'm just so fucking done. Literally, Gina literally comes through with like the comedic relief when I feel like I don't need it, but need it all at the same time. Does that make sense? Like, Gina just comes through and just makes me laugh, and that's kind of why I need her to just stick around, because she is so funny.
You know what? That's life though, right?
Yeah.
Now we're gonna check on Shannon. Here's the deal about Shannon. So she has tested positive for COVID. John, her boyfriend, most likely has it and, you know, could get it. He's currently testing negative, but they're both like, well, you know, it's bound to happen, but, you know, let's precaution, blah, blah, blah. So they're going to live apart. So how it worked, Shannon had her house, John has his house, but they basically have not spent any time apart from each other. So Shannon's daughters currently tested positive for COVID, so they are living in Shannon's house. Shannon moved in with John, so now Shannon has COVID. Stick with me now. So because John is currently testing negative for COVID, but they think that he's going to test positive because that's how this fucking thing works, Shannon is leaving John's house and going to quarantine with her daughters at her own house. So Shannon is all fucking bent out of shape because she's like, oh, woe is me. What am I fucking gonna do? I, you know, did everything that I could to try to stay safe, and now look at me. I can't believe that I need to quarantine for 14 days. Me and John are gonna be apart for so long. Blah, 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 blah. But that's what you need to do to stay safe. Duh. Anyway, so it's a whole fucking thing. Like, the constant complaining, the constant whining, the constant woe is me, the constant pointing the finger, not wanting to take blame for literally anything this whole season. It's exhausting. I literally can't take it. Let's take a break from Shannon because we're gonna get back to Shannon again. So I just can't overdo it because she's a ball of anxiety and she freaks me out, okay? So Emily, let's move over to her. She's taking care of all of her kids because Shane is in the hospital with COVID. So because Shannon and Emily both have COVID. Like Emily's whole family has COVID and Shannon's whole family has COVID. None of them are filming with like any crew members. They're all filming from their home, from iPhones. The biggest crime though is fucking Shannon's hat. What is that? There, I said it. That's my opinion. Like, she's already freaking out. Oh yeah, we're back to Shannon. She's already freaking out. Like, why is she so upset?
I'll garden my own house now for 2 flipping weeks. Can't wait.
Now she's back at her house screaming at her kids. She's pissed at John. She's pissed at her kids. Can this woman just not fucking be happy about anything?
There is dog shit unflippin' believable out here. The laundry's been there since Thursday.
I'll put the laundry away.
No attitude for me.
Like, honestly, even the house is not that dirty. Like, yes, there's dog shit and there's some laundry, but like, the reaction from her is not warranted. She just gives me like extreme anxiety and like pisses me off. I really don't like Shannon at all. Honestly, I don't think I've ever really liked Shannon. Did I? No. I mean, she did give us the classic, this isn't my plate, you fucking stupid bitch. She did give us that, which, I ain't mad about it. But like, her as a person, I really don't like her. Like, she is a fucking Karen. Am I right? Am I right? Anyway. Alright, back to it. Let's go back to Lake Arrowhead. Kelly, Gina, Bronwyn, Elizabeth, they all are meeting back up on the dock. So they are all very appreciative about Elizabeth for bringing them all together. And Gina mentions that she feels like she doesn't even know Elizabeth at all and wants to get to know her, but it's hard to get to know her.
It's hard to get to know you because it's hard to get to know you. I feel like I don't understand you.
But it's because of the childhood trauma that Elizabeth, you know, had to endure. She doesn't let anybody in because as soon as like they get close to finding that out, she's like, get away from me. So Elizabeth opens up and she shares the story. We get deep again. She shares it with everybody. So I think this put everything in perspective to make the mood light because we just talked about Elizabeth's story earlier and it's a lot. Let's have another fish scene, shall we?
Gina's house. Oh my God, I can't kill the fish. Please let it live. Kill it. Please let it live. I love to catch it.
So now the ladies are going back to their, is that a cabin? A house? It's a house, their lake house. So they're all cooking dinner and so here's the thing, when they cook and are around food, they need to wear face shields and just the scene of them all in face shields is just, it's interesting. Like all of those face shields, y'all. Also watching them attempt to cook is very comedic for me. Like it's very soothing because they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Now we're cooking.
What in the, oh my God, you can't do that.
This kitchen is temperamental.
We're like America's worst cooks.
So then Shannon calls and she lets everyone know that she has tested positive for COVID.
I got a phone call that I am positive.
And everyone is freaking out.
I was just at her house.
So, you wear these the whole time? No, I guess we don't need to wear this.
Am I gonna get it? Because I was just with her.
I mean, as they should. This crew has not taken COVID seriously at all. Throughout the whole season, everything around them begins to crumble down now that Shannon has tested positive. But the amount of freaking out from Shannon literally just gives me a headache. The constantness of it all. I've said it so many times, but I just feel like I gotta really nail it home because, yeah. So then Kelly says, oh, you're lucky. I've been asking for COVID. Who in the fucking hell says that? I cannot with that woman. Like, she's probably the worst ever. Next to, oh, fuck, what's her name? Amber Marchese from fucking, Jersey and Siggy. Soggy Flicker. Both of those two fucking hell on fucking earth. Horrible human beings. Horrible human beings. Kelly is like right up there with them. But yeah, so everyone finds out that Shannon now has COVID. So Bronwyn, she's freaking out. Freaking out. She's on the phone with Sean, going over symptoms.
Could you Google anything I should know? Because if I Google it, I'm gonna have every symptom.
Right. Do you have a fever?
No.
It's like, are you coughing?
No.
Okay, well, that's the second main one.
Shannon, you know, basically testing positive changes how the ladies view COVID forever and the rest of the season. Maybe with the exception of Kelly, but even Kelly changes her tune. But also, Kelly also says this. She says that she was told that if you have type O blood, you're bulletproof and you can't get COVID. Who the fuck is telling? Like, Gina's face through all of that nonsense fuckery is my face. I would do the same thing. And the reaction from Gina in her confessional, y'all love it.
I just don't think that's how it works. She's not bulletproof. I mean, like, people with type O blood can get it. I mean, anybody can get this, anybody.
But seriously, here's Gina. She's the voice of reason through COVID. Bronwyn, very nervous. Kelly, still making light of everything going on. Shannon freaks out. Emily, she's calm, but we haven't really seen much of Emily this season, to be honest. So, it is what it is. So, Kelly is planning a trip to Napa to look at wedding venues because she is still gonna get married and she said she's not gonna let a virus stop her wedding. Well, bitch, it did. So then we find out the next day that Shannon's daughter, Shannon, John, all having issues breathing, and it's very difficult. And because Shannon said that her daughter couldn't breathe, John's having a hard time breathing, she's having a hard time breathing, that freaked Kelly out.
Maybe I shouldn't go to Napa.
You should not go to Napa.
I'm freaking out because
No, bitch, you should not go to fucking Napa. So then Kelly gets a call from the nurse and she needs to now self-quarantine because she came in contact with Shannon.
You may have been in contact with someone who tested positive for coronavirus. But I am going to recommend that you social isolate for the next 14 days.
Shit literally went from like 0 to 100 real quickly this episode. Like, it is spiraling and like the walls are crumbling down all around them. It's like, you have COVID, you have COVID. Everyone's quarantining now. Duh. So everyone is finally fucking taking this virus seriously because we all had to endure the first half of the season of la-di-da, 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 no one caring about anything. So it's fucking finally that everyone's taking it seriously. So moving on to Emily. Her and her kids are making welcome signs for Shane because he's coming home from the hospital. And, you know, this is just so sad. The fact that Emily said this, that she had to mentally and emotionally prepare herself for Shane not making it and being a single mom taking care of her kids on her own. It's just like the harsh reality of COVID. Like, that is literally what happens. Like, you don't know how this virus is going to affect you. With her, Emily had COVID, but had mild symptoms. Shane got COVID. He ended up in the hospital for over a week. This virus does not play. So then Shane gets to come home, which is nice. Moving over to Elizabeth, though, she's over here eating the same thing that she feeds her dog.
Are you gonna want some of this too?
Yeah, let's just all eat the same thing.
I agree.
Technically, that's what we do anyway.
Like rice and chicken and like greens. I mean, it makes grocery shopping easy, saves money on dog food. I don't understand the whole, I don't understand that. I just don't get it. Then Elizabeth, she's sharing with Jimmy, her boyfriend, that she opened up to the ladies about her past traumas and he supported her and didn't like shun her or push her away. And I think that she's in a very healthy relationship with that one, so good for her. And she mentions it again, like she created this facade of perfection, and because she talked about the trauma, she feels that it's now shattered. But Elizabeth, that's like the farthest from the truth. Like, that's not the truth. It's just not. But then again, I never went through like a trauma like that. So that is your story to share on your own terms. And I can't say anything about it. I can say what happened on the show, but like, I can't say whether it's not my story. So we close up the episode with Bronwyn and Emily meeting up. Emily is sharing her COVID experiences. Shannon and Emily, though, Emily shared that Shannon and her are now really close because of their COVID experiences. And Bronwyn opens up to Emily about her marriage and that she's unsure that it will make it through. But now Bronwyn's a lesbian and has a girlfriend, but is still married, and the whole thing's a weird fucking like weird Alice through the looking glass. That doesn't make sense. It's a weird situation. I don't get it. I just don't get it. So that's it for this week's episode of The Real Housewives of Orange County. It was good. I'm not gonna lie. It was good. And I'm not a fan of OC this season, but this episode was good. Like, why did it take them all season to give us this deep episode? No, I'm not saying we need to go deep every week. It actually was meaningful. It was actually funny. Real things were discussed. Real things happened. I just feel like this whole season is just surface level and fake and forced, and nothing's happening, and Shannon's complaining, and Kelly's being a douchebag. Like, this episode, it was good. It was good. I'm hoping next week delivers. We'll see if I can do a review next week. I'm only reviewing The Real Housewives of Orange County when fucking shit is decent. And fucking shit was decent this week. There, I said it. Real Housewives of Orange County was actually a very good episode to watch. Shocking. Shocking. I'll be back next week for more Real Housewives of Orange County. Maybe, if it's good. Get yourself subscribed if you love The Real Housewives of Orange County, love my channel, love Bravo, love Housewives. Get subscribed. It's super easy and it's free, and you can support a small business, because that's what I think of myself. A small business. Get yourself subscribed to my channel. Give this video a big thumbs up. Share this video with all your friends if you love it. Don't be assholes. Don't be a Kelly Dodd, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye, guys.